what to do, where to sit, and who to invite. These are the instructions a young mother gave to her 10-year-old son who wanted a birthday party for his 10th birthday. He was in the 4th grade and wanted to invite all the boys to his birthday party. All his friends, anyway, in his 4th grade class. And she said, sure, we'll go ahead and have a birthday party for you. But first, there's the first things we have to talk about what to do before, after, and during your birthday party. First of all, what should you do when someone comes to your house for a birthday party or any kind of dinner? And she told her 10-year-old son, well, as we all know, be welcoming, be gracious, be an example. Don't lord it over them. Don't act like you're doing them a favor by letting them in, but they're honoring you with their presence. And to remember that the boy may get gifts and presents for his birthday, but to share them. To share them with the guests. Don't lord it over them. Hi, look at what I got. I got this new video game or whatever. Mine's bigger and more fancy than yours, but to share it with them. That's what she wants him to do. But also where to sit at his birthday table. He was like, Mom, I'm the birthday boy. Shouldn't I sit at the head of the table with the cake? She says, well, why don't you start by sitting lower and have your friends tell you, no, you come on up, move up. And they might even grab you, said, no, you don't belong there. They might drag you up to sit up front, to sit at the head of the table. And if you do so, you'll earn their respect and admiration. You'll be humbling yourself. And in doing so, that's an antidote to pride. But when it comes around to the invitations, he made up his little invitations, the boys he wanted to invite. And she looked at his list and said, you know, not all the boys are on here. What about Jimmy? Do you want to invite Jimmy to your party? And he was like, Mom, he's kind of the loner. He's kind of a weird dude. He's an outcast and no one really likes him. To which she said, you're going to invite him. He should come. What about Oscar? Remember Oscar? He's in your class. Well, Mom, he's the nerd. He's the geek. He's going to make me look foolish. Do I really have to invite him? Yes, son, you have to invite him too. What about Ricky? Isn't Ricky in your class? Doesn't he sit behind you? Mom, he's mean to us. He's mean. He's the bully. Do I really have to invite him? Yes, I want you to invite him as well. Now, I don't have a follow-up. I don't know what happened at this particular birthday party. But I think it's a good image for us to keep in mind. Because in the New Testament, Jesus always does his most important stuff, usually around a dinner. Usually around some gathering of food where he feeds them or they feed him. And today we have this beautiful story from the Gospel of Luke that is actually much more dynamic than we first think. Jesus is at a dinner party on the Sabbath. Right there is packed with theology. He's at a dinner party of the rulers of the area. It says the rulers, the scribes, the Pharisees, and the lawyers. So this is a big time kind of who's who dinner, and they invite Jesus. It doesn't say they were welcoming of him. It says they were watching him closely. They were watching him, and the people were observing him carefully. What's going on here? And he realizes that. He knows that. And what does he do? He immediately starts to minister to them in what they need to be saved. Now, if you read the gospel and miss the letter, what we've had today, it actually skips a whole story. The first thing he does is heal someone. There's a beggar there at the door with dropsy. And he heals them, and they're watching him. He does this on the Sabbath. And then he turns to them, the lawyers especially, and he says, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath? And they're silent. And what that means is they can't answer. He's ministering to them, humbling them, because that's what they need to hear. And then he turns to them because he notices where they're sitting, what to do, where to sit. They're all sitting in places of honor, jostling for spot. And then he gives them his advice. Look for a lower seat. Sit down lower, because you might be embarrassed and humbled. But if you sit down lower, they might ask you to sit up higher, and you will win their esteem. You will be exalted because you humbled yourself. He's ministering to them. But then he turns to the host, which most people think would be kind of rude. He turns to the host, who's watching him carefully. So next time you have a dinner party, invite the cripple, the lame, the outcast. Invite them so they can't repay you back. And you will be humbled. They will be exalted, and so will you before God. You will be repaid, as we hear today, at the resurrection of the righteous. Maybe not now. He will be humbled and maybe even embarrassed. Now, these people are not, Jimmy, Oscar, and Ricky. This is even more profound, because to a first century Jew, to have a Gentile in their home would be considered you defiled your home. They're not allowed in there. They would never defile their home with a Gentile. Or someone who's poor and crippled, they're seen as cursed. Cursed by God. Why would we let them in here with us? Now, it's easy to demonize these people, but we all struggle with this. We hang around people who are like us. We do. It's always good to have a small group of friends, like-minded friends. But if we never reach out, never go to those areas where we don't feel comfortable, step out of our comfort zone, break out of those cliques that many of us find ourselves in, then we never grow. We go to those areas, they may not build us up. They may not build us up and honor us. It might be humbling. And that's the key to our salvation. To invite those outsiders, even the tax collectors. And that is not easy. That is not easy. But it instills humility, which is the antidote to pride. That is the antidote. Like I said, I don't know what happened at this party. But all of us have people in our little area of influence, like Jimmy, who's kind of the outcast, who hope doesn't say much. Maybe Uncle Joe or Aunt Mary, who are afraid is going to say something and embarrasses us every time they're over. That happens. Can't choose your family. But to minister to them too. Everybody has an Oscar in their family or friends, someone that's just smarter than us, who shows us up, maybe knows more than we do. Some of you maybe know Father Daniel Liu. He may be watching right now, I don't know. Daniel Liu is about 10 years younger than me. He's a rector at the cathedral in Austin. He has a master's degree in electrical engineering from Rice. I have a bachelor's degree in PE. I don't know why y'all are laughing, but even simple things, I deal with this all the time. I have to use my phone and my computer, and every time I have to log in, whatever that means, sometimes I have to ask a 16-year-old kid, how do you do this? What's an app? Well, Father, you put your passcode and your login. What? That's humbling. It is. It's the world we live in. Well, do you remember your past? No, I don't. So welcome to my world. It is humbling. But also, I think the most maybe even troubling thing even today is the Rickies of our world, the bullies, especially in light of what happened in Minnesota, that parish. There are people around us that are dangerous. But we also know that hurt people. And the more we know about the shooter, the more we know that many of his own family may have failed him. And whatever the reason was, oftentimes the people we keep at a length's distance become dangerous. And there's no easy answer to that. There's no easy answer to that. But the Lord still asks us, and just like he asked his disciples, go like lambs among wolves. Did he mean that? Did he mean that? Don't carry anything, a stick or a staff. What? We're supposed to make ourselves vulnerable? What? It's not easy. And let me also say something, a couple of things that you might find interesting. Sometimes our Protestant non-Catholic friends are much more better at this. So at the last Mass, the 8:30 Mass, two young men sat right there, elder LDS Mormon missionaries, sat right there for the 8:30 Mass. And someone invited them, and they just left like 20 minutes ago. They engaged us in conversation and questions. When was the last time you guys went to a Mormon temple? Or even me? Sometimes they put us to shame. We could learn from them. But also, you'll notice that we have some chairs set out. We're practicing actually for next weekend, because that's when, this is it's Labor Day weekend. But the past 2 Sundays, we have had over 600 people at this Mass. And as a priest, I'll stand here and see them stack up outside. And sure, they often come in late. And who comes in late? The people we need to serve the most. Usually they're dragging a little kid and carrying a baby. And they'll stand out here and sometimes they can't find a seat. And I would ask all of you, let's get real personal. I'll ask all of you, when the usher comes to you and says, could you please move in? Move in. Don't step out into the aisle. Be humble enough to scooch. That's harder, isn't it? That's harder, isn't it? But we're all asked to be humbled. You might say, I don't feel like it. I understand. I understand. But when we humble ourselves as we hear today, and when we have the grace to seek out the Jimmys, the Oscars, and the Rickies, and we're in an age now where people are asking important questions, and the Catholic Church is in a unique place where we sit right now. We are in a unique place to answer those questions, to welcome them, to be gracious, to be an example, to share our gifts, and to earn their respect by who we invite, the Jimmys, the Oscars, and the Rickies. Because when we humble ourselves and exalt them, then that's when the Lord said to us, then we will be exalted.